The night sky has always inspired wonder and curiosity, serving as both a canvas for our dreams and a stage for our technological ambitions. For centuries, we looked up and saw stories and mysteries. Now, we see our own creations moving among the stars. The sky is no longer empty. Satellites, drones, and unknown objects fill the darkness, raising new questions and concerns. Social media amplifies every unexplained sighting, turning curiosity into anxiety and speculation. What was once science fiction is now a matter of international politics and security. Strange lights and objects are seen as potential threats or signs of new technology. Every unexplained radar blip adds tension between nations. The wonder of the cosmos now collides with our instinct for caution. On any clear night, you might spot something unfamiliar, moving with purpose, not like a star or planet. Is it a satellite, a drone, or something else? These sightings are now common, blurring the line between the known and unknown. Our machines fill the sky, some shrouded in secrecy, creating confusion and suspicion. Uncertainty can quickly escalate into global tension. In September 2025, the skies over China became the center of worldwide attention. The event reminded us that watching the sky is now an act of vigilance, not just wonder. The Shandong incident showed how quickly speculation can outpace truth in our connected world. On the night of September 12, 2025, China's digital world erupted. Shaky videos from Weifang, Shandong province, showed a flaming object streaking across the night sky, followed by what looked like a missile launch and a brilliant explosion. The footage went viral on Weibo, racking up over 150 million views within hours. Public reaction was instant: shock, fear, and wild speculation. Was it an attack? An alien encounter? Online theories exploded, from military strikes to extraterrestrial contact. Some pointed to CCTV footage of a second missile, fueling rumors of a coordinated defense. Meanwhile, officials stayed silent, offering no explanation. The lack of information only intensified conspiracy theories. China's strict state secrets laws fueled suspicion and anxiety. But public records show the Maritime Safety Administration had warned of live-fire military exercises in the Bohai Sea for those dates. The UFO was likely a target drone, and the explosion part of a planned air defense drill. Still, the spectacle and silence overshadowed the mundane truth. In the absence of clear facts, people filled the gaps with their own dramatic stories. The Shandong incident, though likely a domestic affair, highlights a growing global anxiety about military activity in space. At the center of these concerns is the U.S. Space Force's X-37B, a reusable, uncrewed spaceplane that blurs the line between exploration and warfare. Unlike typical satellites, the X-37B can launch like a rocket, orbit for years, and land like an airplane. Its missions are highly classified, fueling suspicion among rival nations. What worries them most is the X-37B's combination of long-duration flight, maneuverability, and secrecy. It can stay in orbit for over 900 days and change its path, making it hard to track. This agility is a major shift from the predictable orbits of most satellites. In theory, it could approach other objects in space, raising alarms in Beijing and Moscow. The U.S. remains vague about its true purpose, officially calling it a testbed for advanced technologies. The Pentagon insists it's not a weapon, but rivals remain skeptical. With such a secretive and advanced vehicle, adversaries assume the worst. This fuels tension and suspicion, driving a new era of space competition. The X-37B could shift the balance of power in orbit, whether as a spy, repair vehicle, or something more. Without transparency, every move it makes is open to the most threatening interpretations. The X-37B is a silent symbol of the uncertain future of space competition. For China, the X-37B is seen as a direct threat, not just a technological marvel. Chinese analysts and state media often call it a space killer, warning it could disable satellites and cripple communications in a conflict. They worry future wars could start in orbit, with the X-37B targeting satellites to blind and disrupt adversaries. The fear is that its payload bay could carry robotic arms, jammers, or even lasers to sabotage satellites. This concern is based on real analysis, not just speculation. Chinese experts believe the X-37B could inspect, interfere with, or nudge satellites out of orbit, actions that are hard to detect or prove. Such soft kill tactics are stealthy but devastating. China's warnings also serve a strategic purpose. By highlighting the X-37B as a threat, China justifies its own anti-satellite and spaceplane programs. China has tested anti-satellite missiles and is developing the Shenlong spaceplane, mirroring the X-37B. This competition fuels a space arms race, with both sides accelerating their programs. The result is a more unstable and dangerous orbit, where any unknown object could spark conflict. Russia, like China, is deeply suspicious of the X-37B, but its concerns are even more dramatic. Some Russian officials claim the X-37B could be used as a first-strike nuclear platform, able to deorbit and strike targets with little warning. They argue its maneuverability could bypass missile defenses, making it a potential nuclear threat. Western analysts, however, dismiss this as unrealistic. The X-37B's payload bay is small, about the size of a pickup truck bed, far less than what traditional nuclear missiles can carry. Conventional missiles are much more effective for nuclear delivery. Using the costly X-37B for such a mission would be inefficient. It's like using a Formula One car to deliver pizza. So why push this narrative? For Russia, it's more about political messaging than technical reality. Framing the X-37B as a nuclear threat raises public fear and justifies military spending. It also paints the US as violating the spirit of treaties banning weapons of mass destruction in space. This is classic propaganda in the ongoing information war. These suspicions highlight the risks of military secrecy in space. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 aimed to keep space peaceful. But dual-use technologies are blurring the line between civilian and military uses. The X-37B, seen by the US as scientific and by rivals as a weapon, embodies this dilemma. In the shadows of space, fear and paranoia thrive. After the Shandong incident, the internet exploded with wild claims far beyond the real geopolitical tensions. One persistent rumor claimed a mysterious object, codenamed 3I/Atlas, was being tracked by world governments. Some even said it was an alien spaceship. Others insisted the US was secretly shutting down NASA to hide a monumental discovery. There's no credible evidence for any of this. The name 3I/Atlas doesn't appear in any official or amateur astronomical database. It's not recognized by the International Astronomical Union, NORAD, or any space tracking agency. These stories are internet fabrications, fueled by a desire for dramatic explanations. NASA is not being shut down. The agency is fully operational and active. Such rumors thrive on suspicion and are amplified by social media algorithms. Misunderstandings often come from misinterpreting unrelated events. Our skies are busier than ever, not just with military craft, but with satellites and space debris. Space junk from decades of exploration sometimes re-enters the atmosphere, creating dramatic sights. For example, in May 2025, a failed Soviet Venus probe, Cosmos 482, made a fiery return to Earth. Its tough design meant parts survived re-entry and landed in the Indian Ocean, easily mistaken for something mysterious. Without context, such events are often misidentified as UFOs. In short, real but explainable phenomena, combined with limited public knowledge, create fertile ground for rumors and conspiracy theories. While UFOs and secret space weapons capture our imagination, the real and immediate danger from above is space debris. Over decades, we've filled low Earth orbit with satellites, many of which become uncontrolled junk as they fail. The rise of mega-constellations like Starlink with thousands of satellites has rapidly increased the problem. More satellites mean more debris eventually falling back to Earth. In 2024, a Canadian farmer found a large, charred piece of a SpaceX Dragon capsule. Similar incidents have happened in Australia, Brazil, and India. Each incident is a reminder that what goes up must come down, and our orbital space is limited. Predicting where debris will land is difficult due to many variables, so impact zones are often broad and uncertain. As the skies grow more crowded, the risk, though still small, of debris hitting populated areas increases. Incidents like the one in Shandong highlight how space junk is now a real-world concern, not just a hypothetical risk. This uncertainty fuels public anxiety and makes us more vulnerable to misinformation. The real threat from above isn't aliens, it's the millions of pieces of our own space junk circling overhead. We've explored the likely, the exaggerated, and the mundane, but let's indulge in the extraordinary. What if the object over Shandong had been the real deal? What if tomorrow, we received undeniable proof of a non-human craft entering our solar system? Contrary to movie chaos, there are protocols among scientists and governments. The first step would be verification, not launching missiles. Detection would come from multiple observatories, triggering global scientific coordination. Governments would aim to manage public safety and prevent panic through controlled information release. Announcements would be made by world leaders or international scientific bodies to ensure credibility. The message: something has been discovered, we are analyzing it, and taking precautions. Citizens would be advised to remain calm, avoid debris, and rely on official channels to combat misinformation. The scientific response would be a global effort, with every telescope focused on the object. Scientists would analyze its trajectory, composition, and any radio signals. The focus would be on remote observation and analysis, avoiding any aggressive actions. The prime directive: listen, learn, and understand the newcomer's capabilities and intent. This phase could last years or decades, with extreme caution to avoid misunderstandings. Every action would assume the visitors are vastly more advanced. An ill-conceived attempt at communication or military force could be catastrophic. The real first contact protocol is one of extreme caution, unified scientific inquiry, and controlled public communication. It would be less like Independence Day, and more like the most profound and patient scientific experiment ever conducted. We are living in a time when space is no longer a quiet frontier, but a crowded and complex domain. Our ambitions and technology have filled the sky with satellites and stations, but this progress brings new risks. The Shandong incident showed how quickly local events in space can spark global concern and speculation. It highlighted the need for transparency and reliable information, especially as global competition intensifies. Concerns from China and Russia about the X-37B reflect real uncertainty about the line between science and weaponry in space. An arms race in orbit only raises the risk of conflict. The solution is open dialogue and new international agreements to prevent escalation. We must rely on science to separate real threats, like space debris, from baseless rumors. Supporting scientific institutions like NASA is essential for trustworthy knowledge. Scientific literacy is vital for navigating today's world. It guides us through uncertainty and helps us avoid fear-driven mistakes. Your role? Stay curious, but also think critically. Keep exploring, but always check your sources. When you see something strange in the sky, approach it with wonder and skepticism. Rely on credible scientific and journalistic sources. Trust the process of verification. The universe is full of wonders, and our greatest strength is discovering them together as an informed and united humanity.